Welcome to Beating Cancer Daily. Beating stage 4 cancer for 30 years still takes my breath away every time I say it. I'm Saranne, founder of the Comedy Cures Foundation, and I hope you'll join me for just a few minutes daily for the next 365 days so we may laugh, learn, maybe cry a little as we live our best days beating cancer daily together. Okay. I have to tell you that I am obsessed with crying in a good way. Not that I'm so depressed and that I cry all day long. I cry for good reasons. I am one of those people that cries at the most joy-filled moments. I cry when I'm laughing. I cry when I'm sad. I cry at movies. Are you the same way? I know that not everyone is that emotional and does that. And I know in a lot of cultures, crying is looked down upon, or you are told from a young age not to cry. But I love crying. I don't have a problem with it. I've had people tell me that I'm kind of fun to watch watching something because I do react so much to entertainment. And I may have shared this before, but James Earl Jones told me that I cried at parts of his movie that he didn't even know were sad. He kept offering me his handkerchief because I was crying so much, I think it was hitting his popcorn that he was eating next to me when we were watching the premiere of his movie, Cry the Beloved Country, decades ago. I wanted to have a conversation about the power of tears and crying, why it could be good for you, and also maybe you haven't cried since you were diagnosed with cancer, or maybe you haven't cried since you were re-diagnosed with cancer, or someone you love has been diagnosed with cancer. I like the mourning process. I find that if I can really mourn what's making me sad, that I can get to joy again faster. So that's a strategy that I've used all through my history of 32 years with cancer. There are lots of episodes of Beating Cancer Daily out of the hundreds of episodes that talk about joy and laughter. But I did want to just speak quickly about tears and crying. And maybe you've never thought of it this way. Maybe you've never looked at the research behind it, but I think we should. I just can't help not telling you a joke because I saw this joke about crying and I thought it was super cute. So a cop started crying while he was writing me a ticket. I asked him why, and he said, "It's a moving violation." Now, if English isn't your first language, you might not have picked that up right away. I'm just going to repeat it because I love it, and I want to make sure that our listeners around the world who don't speak English as their first language get it. A cop was crying while he was writing me a ticket. I asked him why, and he said, "It's a moving violation." And so moving is emotional, and moving violation means you were in a car driving and you did something wrong while you were driving. It wasn't a parking ticket. So hopefully you thought that was cute and fun because I I did. And I always try to infuse humor. I did not write that joke, but I liked it. Even if it's stupid humor, that you take a minute, not take it all so seriously, and we just share a laugh together every day. So maybe that joke wasn't hilarious enough to make you laugh, cry, but I find the research about laughter tears super interesting. And because I did start the Comedy Cures Foundation, comedycures.org, for my chemo chair, and there are so many episodes in these hundreds of episodes of Beating Cancer Daily about laughter. I think having a little research about laughter and tears would be cool. So here's what I found from soliceuhealth.com. It's a doctor, Dr. Aragon, and he says we cry when we laugh so hard because the body's trying to regulate itself in response to strong emotions. So if something tickles us so much that we have this big laughter reaction, that we could cry because our body's going, oh, here's something new, a rush that's come into our system. And that surprise could cause the tears, that surprise of emotion. And then the other thing that I read that I thought was super interesting was from healthpoint.net, where they say our tear ducts, when we scrunch up our face during a laugh, it puts pressure on our tear ducts, which can lead us to produce tears. And then I've said this before, tears of laughter and tears of sadness have a different makeup. So tears of sadness have more salt in them, like bitterness almost. And I find all of this research super cool. So I love laughing so hard that I cry, and I'm not that hard to trigger that. Like, I love laughing so much that my body just will go there pretty quickly. And so I wanted you to be aware. Do you laugh so hard that you cry? I mean, you might have a tear duct issue, right? So you don't produce tears, but are you okay with that? Are you okay having that big of a reaction when you're laughing? It's so good for your mind, body, and spirit if you do that. And I just want you to think about the possibility of opening yourself up to that experience. Now, let's go to why a lot of people don't want to cry. Well, there's a vanity component to it, right? What happens when we cry? What do we look like? I don't want splotchy skin. I don't want puffy eyes. I don't want to feel the pressure in my sinuses. I don't want my nose to run. I look really ugly when I cry. It gives me a headache. A lot of people just hate the puffy eye part. But is there a vanity reason why you don't like crying? And if I could make the scientific case for why crying is good for us, would you put up with the physical look that you have to like let subside just so that you could have all the good benefits of crying? And there's so much research on the internet. There is a lovely story that I found from ABC in Australia about, is crying good for you? The ups and downs of emotional tears. There's a lot of research, and I wanted to share some of that with you. Here's a cool website called North Star Transitions, and I liked the way that they just went bam, bam, bam. Here's a bunch of reasons why you want to cry. The first one was it helps detox the body. Just crying can clean out debris from your eyes, whether it's dust or smoke, and it protects your eyes from infection. It's pretty interesting that emotional tears contain stress hormones and other toxins that you need to flush from your body. So if you are stressed out and emotional in a negative way, crying is a good thing to release those toxins. The next thing is that it can really help our mood. It can lower our stress when we cry. It can give us better sleep, and it can strengthen our immune system because, again, this release of stress hormones. I like that crying can help soothe, that it can stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, and this system helps you digest food. It helps you rest better. It helps with stress symptoms like stomach aches or restlessness. And it can just kind of help reboot that. Look, we've all experienced grief, and sometimes you just need to express grief and you can't find words, but sometimes just crying can really help do that. We've all gotten hurt and let out tears, right? We've all experienced pain, and our reaction has been crying. Now, endorphins are released when you laugh and when you cry. And that's why I teach so many different techniques on laughter, because I want you to get the positive benefits, especially pain relief through laughing. It just also can make you feel really good, but it can numb pain and give you an overall sense of calm. And again, this website, North Star Transitions, is putting the case together based on the research that I've been finding. And I just really like the way that they present this. Another thing is that they feel that negative feelings, such as, I'm going to not say negative feelings. I disagree with this comment. I don't think feelings are negative. I think feelings need to be your feelings. So this is the one thing I'm going to state a little differently. I think feeling sad, angry, lonely, those things happen. And if we can really look at them and then have strategies to move us through those states, if you want to move through those states, that's the best way to approach it. So I have a little different philosophy here. They're saying that crying can bring you emotional equilibrium. And I think that is an important ability to have, to be able to help yourself feel more balanced and stable. And sometimes a good cry can do that. Another reason is that a cry could be an alert. You could be crying because you're suppressing something that you need to express, and that could be emotional or physical. Or you realize that something you're about to do isn't good for you, and you don't realize how you can change the scenario. So sometimes we cry because it's a warning signal to ourself. And of course, that can help you cope, but maybe you need to take a look at while you're crying. You're trying to alert yourself to do something differently. It helps you feel calm. It can help you when you're struggling. It can help you calm yourself. We start crying as babies because we're trying to alert people in our world that we need help. It could be we need to be changed. We need to be hugged. We need to not be as cold. We need not to be as hot. We have a stomach ache. There are reasons why babies use crying to help communicate with the world. And the site makes the case for, why do we have to stop when we're adults? Yes, we have words, but sometimes by sharing our tears with another, we can get the support that we need. Another idea is that if we don't cry and we don't use our tears for a long time, our eyes can become very dry. And so that can lead to discomfort or possible infection. So crying helps us lubricate a part of our body that we need to value. And so if you want to have a good cry, just say, oh my gosh, I'm helping the health of my eyes. This is a good reason. Sometimes we really just need extra help. We need a therapist or a support group, especially if we're going through cancer treatment or we've gotten through it and it all hits us, what we've just been through, or we've just been diagnosed. So pay attention to our tears. It could mean that we need more support. We need professional help. And there shouldn't be a reason that we feel shame that we do need help. Now, you could have a condition where you excessively cry, or you could have a condition where you absolutely don't cry. And those are extremes. You could be drinking more than is healthy, and that could be numbing to our emotional pain, and we're not letting the tears flow. Or we could be drinking, and that could be causing excessive tears, and we're not getting the support that we need because we're using alcohol or drugs as our support. I really find this research and also these tips so fascinating. It is, to me, just such a natural way that we communicate with ourselves what we need. Some research shows, and I found this at Orlando Health online, that women cried on average in their study 5.3 times per month, while men cried 1.4 times in the same period. That's interesting. I didn't think people cried that much. I was surprised by that. Now, what happens if you don't want to cry? What happens if, for whatever reason, you need to stop crying? You know me, I like to let the tears flow, but you might be in a public setting or a work setting and you don't want to have that. Then this site says, take slow, deep breaths to relax, that can help stop the crying. I'm not so sure that ever really helped me when I was in a good cry, but that's the first thing they say to do. Then they say, if you can go for a walk or step away from the environment that you're in, particularly if it's upsetting, if you can do that, change environment, that can help. The next thing is concentrate on relaxing your facial muscles. That can help stop the crying. Sometimes just using words to communicate how you're feeling can stop the crying, but I know that sometimes if I hear myself say what's making me so sad, that I actually cry harder. All these are individual strategies. You just have to try them. And then they say you can distract yourself by staring at an object. So pick an object in your environment and just stare at it. And that can sometimes trigger the stopping of tears. Another idea is they say if you have something to squeeze. Now, I know that sometimes I've burst into tears and I've hugged someone really hard. They're also talking about just an object, like if you have a stress ball, find something to squeeze, even a pillow, and see if that helps stop the flow of tears. I loved this one, blinking your eyes. I have to try that next time I don't want to cry and I'm crying, to see if blinking my eyes stops it. I've seen people do that naturally crying. I didn't know that could stop tears. That might just be like an instinct. I'm going to suggest something that they did not suggest, and I think you see this one coming. I have turned on a comedy set or started watching one of my favorite comedy movies. But if I watch a comedian being funny and I'm just getting lost in the stories and the humor of that comedian, I will have those tears of sadness transition to tears of joy. And if nothing else, distract me completely from what was making me cry and just put me in a more joyful spirit, which gives me a moment to oxygenate my brain from the laughter and get a new perspective on what could have made me cry. I do love crying, though. You will catch me crying happy, sad. I'm good to experience all the emotions. I do feel that it is my body clearing toxicity or stress and that it's all good. And I have to tell you about onion tears. This is so important. Do you cry when you chop an onion? Do you know that you could put it in the freezer or the refrigerator and that will help you not cry? I bet you heard that trick about run it under water and then that does it. Some people say hold a spoon in your mouth, and having the spoon in your mouth stops you from breathing in the onion. I just couldn't do an episode on tears and not talk about crying from an onion. And of course, I have to end on a bad onion joke because of the way they make you cry. Did you hear what happened between the cook and the onion? I think there was a fight. It got a little dicey and tears were shed. I thought that was so cute. How many people could find an onion and a tear joke on an episode about tears where we talk about onions? I forgive myself for not having written it and that it's not the best joke, but we have to laugh. We just have to laugh. So if you have a better onion joke or tear joke, you can share it with me. But I want to hear, are you letting yourself laugh until you cry? Are you allowing yourself to cry because of the immune boosting benefits and because of all the reasons that we shared? I want to know, do you have other reasons why you laugh? You can share them with me at comedycures.org. Hit the record button in the podcast section or write it to me from the menu, and have a blessed and hopefully joyfully teary day. If you loved today's episode, then tell the world. Why? Because Beating Cancer Daily is a listener and donor supported experience. So the more people you tell and the more people that join us, the more robust and interesting programs our nonprofit, the Comedy Cures Foundation, can bring to you throughout the year. So if you have some extra change, I'd love you to go to comedycures.org and make a donation today of whatever level is comfortable for you. And it will be tax deductible to the extent allowed by law, because Comedy Cures is a nonprofit 501c3 organization founded from my chemo chair, April 1999, and we've been going strong ever since. So please consider making a donation today and help our community and this podcast thrive. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to read the disclaimer. Beating Cancer Daily and the membership circle are not in lieu of medical advice or treatment. They are for entertainment purposes only. Please consult your healthcare team to review your best strategy. Thanks for listening. See you guys tomorrow.